Hey there, Commanders fans. Today we have a special video to talk about a guy who has already won the hearts of all fans, Terry McLaurin. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and hit the bell because you won't want to miss anything we're going to discuss here. But before we get into the details, don't forget, our last analysis is about a potentially very important signing for our team. So, folks, what can we say about Terry McLaurin? This guy isn't just an excellent wide receiver, he's a leader both on and off the field. Since joining the Washington Commanders, McLaurin has become that player we can always count on. He not only delivers impressive results on the field, but is also an example of conduct. He never complains, even when he'd have every reason to, like when he spent the entire last season without a consistent QB. Now, with Jayden Daniels taking over the position, can fans finally breathe a sigh of relief? And look, people, it hasn't been easy for McLaurin. In 6 NFL seasons, he's had to adapt to no less than 12 different quarterbacks. It's QBs coming and going every season, which would drive any receiver crazy. But not our scary Terry, and it seems like the search for the ideal QB might finally be over. With Adam Peters taking over as general manager in January, the mission was clear. Find a franchise quarterback for McLaurin, and that's where Daniels came into play. Second overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, and he's already showing he didn't come to play around. And that's exactly what I want to talk about now. In the first 2 games of the season, people started questioning McLaurin's performance, as he had only 8 receptions for 39 yards. That's when the doubt hit. Was the problem with McLaurin, the game plan, or Daniels himself? But as I always say, those who know McLaurin know that he always delivers in crucial moments. And on Monday, he proved once again that he's one of the best in the league. In that thrilling 38-33 victory against the Bengals, McLaurin and Daniels were in perfect sync. 4 receptions for 100 yards, including a sensational 27-yard touchdown that sealed the game for us. Those who watched saw McLaurin's explosion of emotion, running to celebrate with Daniels and coach Dan Quinn. It was one of those moments that gives any fan goosebumps. And then, after the game, it was all joy. McLaurin's smiling face was all over social media, showing that the partnership with Daniels has everything to work out. And on Wednesday, McLaurin spoke to the media about this growing connection between him and Daniels. He emphasized the importance of having patience when it comes to working with a rookie quarterback. The best thing about it is he has a great attitude, McLaurin said. He does a good job in practice, and we're getting better every week. You can see that McLaurin is confident, and personally, I believe this partnership is going to be something to talk about. After all, we're talking about one of the most dedicated receivers in the league. Now, what really stood out was McLaurin's confidence in that last touchdown play. He said he felt a vibe similar to what he had experienced with Taylor Heineke. It's that thing of knowing that even if the pass isn't perfect, McLaurin will find a way to make the catch. And that's exactly what happened. McLaurin said, "We were confident in the decision, and it was just a matter of playing big boy football. That's the mentality we need, folks. Game on the line, 0 coverage, 3rd down, all or nothing, and they execute perfectly." Now, the big question is, how to maintain this level of performance? The victory against the Bengals was incredible, but now comes the challenge of maintaining consistency, especially on the road against the Cardinals. We all know that the NFL season is a true marathon, and we can't get too excited about one win. McLaurin himself made it clear that they still have a lot of work ahead. I think I'm excited to see how we continue to build this going forward. Because a guy with his talent and a guy like me who really wants to make plays, I think he's going to continue to open everything up for us, not just for me. And folks, that's what gets me excited. It seems like we're finally seeing the building of solid chemistry between our star receiver and the new quarterback. This was the performance we've been waiting for since Daniels was drafted. But now, what can we expect from this duo? Will Jayden Daniels be able to maintain this level and establish himself as the QB the Washington Commanders so desperately need? And McLaurin, will he be able to repeat these dominant performances week after week? Well, we all know that the future of the Commanders seems to be in good hands with our new quarterback, Jayden Daniels. The kid showed what he's capable of in the last game against the Bengals, completing 21 of 23 passes and throwing for 2 touchdowns. It's the promise of a long and prosperous road for the team. But, as we always say here, a talented QB alone isn't enough. He needs a worthy arsenal. And that's where this buzz about the mock draft comes in. In the latest Sports Illustrated mock draft, writer Daniel Flick suggested that the Commanders pick Arizona wide receiver Tedairoa McMillan with the 13th overall pick. And let me tell you folks, this would be a great move. He's one of the best receivers in the country alongside our Terry McLaurin. The opposing defense would be lost. This McMillan is no joke. In the 2023 season, he simply destroyed it, with 90 receptions for 402 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's in just 13 games. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Against Arizona State, the guy caught 11 passes for 266 yards and 2 touchdowns, setting a new receiving yards record in the Territorial Cup. And, to make the story even better, in the Alamo Bowl against Oklahoma, McMillan made 10 receptions for 160 yards, leading Arizona to a 38-24 victory and closing out the season with 7 straight wins. Think he stopped there? When coach Jedd Fisch left Arizona for Washington, everyone thought McMillan would come along, but he decided to stay and honor his commitment to Arizona. He was named a preseason AP All-American First Team and a projected first-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. In the Wildcats' 2024 season opener, he made history again. 10 catches for a school record of 304 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's right, 4 TDs and a crushing 61-39 victory against New Mexico. And look, folks, if McMillan does come to the Commanders, he'll be a perfect complement to our Jayden Daniels. Can you imagine? Daniels throwing to McLaurin and McMillan at the same time? That would be an explosive combination. Not to mention that with McMillan's height and wingspan, he would be a constant threat in the red zone, which would give more space for the ground game and other offensive plays. One thing's for sure, the opposing defense will need a lot more than a good night's sleep to stop this offense. Now, I know you must be wondering, but what about Travis Hunter from Colorado? After all, he's also in the running to be the first wide receiver off the board. It's true, Hunter is a versatile player, able to play as both cornerback and wide receiver, which gives him a certain advantage. But, in my opinion, if we can get McMillan, there'll be no stopping us. He's the kind of player that changes a team, that brings that energy we so desperately need. And with Jayden Daniels throwing those bombs to him, it's going to be a show every game. Now, one thing's for certain, Jayden Daniels won't have an easy time if he doesn't have good targets to throw the ball to. We've seen this happen with other promising QBs who ended up falling by the wayside because they didn't have quality support around them. But with McMillan on the team, the story could be very different. The guy has already shown he can play at a high level, breaking records and being a key piece in important victories. And the best part, he's still evolving. Just imagine what he could do with the structure and training of a franchise like ours. And there's more, folks. The arrival of a player of this caliber can also raise the level of other receivers on the team. Healthy competition is always good, and with McMillan on the roster, everyone will want to show their worth. Not to mention that with 2 elite receivers, the ground game also benefits. Defenses will have to worry much more about aerial routes, which will open up space for more effective runs. In other words, it's a positive snowball that only brings benefits to the team as a whole. But of course, we can't forget that the draft is always a gambling game. We've seen first-round picks that didn't live up to expectations and less hyped players who surprised. However, given his track record and numbers, McMillan seems to be a pretty safe bet. Now, it remains to be seen if the Commanders' front office will be willing to invest in this talent, or if they'll prefer to strengthen other areas of the team. The offensive line, for example, also needs reinforcements to protect Daniels and give him time to develop plays. And speaking of protection, it's important to remember that an efficient offense isn't made just of QBs and WRs. The offensive line is crucial for Daniels to have time to think, analyze the defense, and make the right pass. So if we go after McMillan, the front office better be thinking about how to improve protection for him too. Because it's no use having a great receiver if the QB can't throw the ball calmly, right? That's why, folks, keep an eye out for the next moves from the front office. What do you think? Should we focus on getting McMillan or on reinforcing the offensive line? Leave your opinion in the comments. This channel is made for us to debate and build a strong Commanders community. And before I forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and send this video to that fan friend who always has a strong opinion about the draft.